Hello, everyone. Welcome to an audio edition of, I don't know what we have named for this yet, but it's WILIscredia. I'm Charles. And in the place of the wife guest is Bryan Lomax. Sir, how are you?
What up? I'm good. Thanks.
It's good to be 5 feet across from you again.
Yeah, I can punch you like.
Yeah.
It's just
or elbow my wife.
It's just. I believe it was you who elbowed the wife. I just forced your hand.
Yeah, I think you had a little bit to do with it, but yeah. So this is kind of a fly-by-night thing, but there was a couple of things that happened over the course of the last few weeks and month that I think is interesting because you're probably one of my more conservative friends.
I describe myself as slightly right of centre. To some people, that might be far right, but it's not the way I see myself.
Right, and depending on who asks me, I'm on both sides, which is kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
So, I try to treat things fairly, and I watched Citizen Vigilante, the new Uwe Boll film, and it's just not a good movie.
It's a terrible movie.
I'm happy to hear you say that as someone who's right of center. Yeah. And the conversation, I was willing to be corrected on no, you're wrong. It works for these reasons.
It works on no levels whatsoever.
Yeah.
It may work when it comes out on DVD as a coaster for my coffee, but that's about as far as it's ever going to work. So, for American audiences, you may not really know much about what's going on in the UK or even in Europe, across Europe, really. But
because the movie does take place in Europe.
Yeah, there is definitely, absolutely 100% space for this subject that the film is tackling, dare I say, in inverted commas. Tackling ever so poorly. There is space for a film to be made on that subject. In fact, that subject is crying out to have a film made about it. A film with nuance, a film with a lot of, there's so many different positions, so many sides to the story, so much. But when, particularly in the UK, when the evidence now is so overwhelming that our government, that our police force, that our services, our social services were complicit in what is now, this will probably, I don't know if this will, I have to use the word, but whatever, graping of, it's called the rape of Britain. Yeah. And that was allowed to go on for, there's all kinds of theories as to why it was allowed to go on, but one of the biggest ones is just simply the fact that this fear of Islamophobia, but in so doing, in so not addressing it, all you've done is actually heighten Islamophobia,
right?
If there is such a thing, rather than nipping it in the bud right off the bat and getting the people on that side to call out their own. Recently we've had the death of this man who was handcuffed even though he'd been stabbed. And the police just ignored him when they got there, and unfortunately he died. Whereas his attacker, the man who stabbed him, didn't even get cuffs on him. And that, for a lot of people, is indicative of the way our police force has gone. Now, that guy was Sikh, and when that came out, literally the day after, so many people in the Sikh community, like the Sikh community as a whole, condemned it and said how awful it was. And that's what we want. It's
that's fair.
So when Muslim attacks happen, when Islamist attacks happen, if the Muslim community was to come out and disown it and say this is horrible, whatever, then I think we'd be so. But if you don't even give that community the chance to do that because you're brushing things under the carpet for fear of Islamophobia,
right?
And all you're doing is creating a beast that, we're now seeing the ramifications of that. So there's definitely a film to be made about all of this. And Citizen Vigilante
I don't think
is not it.
Right.
No. Someone who understands all the intricacies, all the subtleties, all the nuances of everything that's gone on, the different cultures involved, and he is not the man to do that film.
Right. Spoilers for Citizen Vigilante, the 0.5 star rated film. My big gripe at it, I had a 103-second short where I said, you have to show us things. You can't just have some vigilante running around and taking care of everyone. You need to show us the system failing. And I had a couple of hundred people saying, well, it's happening every day, mate. I'm like, yeah, I'm talking about the film. I'm not trying to talk about real life. I watched this 90-minute thing that could have been 20. And if something's failing, you need to show us that. And him asking people, do you want justice? The first time he asks a victim, do you want justice? He kind of coerces her where she's like, yeah. And he's like, are you sure? Because it's going to take a long time. And it's like, well, what do you're adding to things. And she's in the hospital. She could be drugged. And on top of that, he does so much negative for his case. There's these 3 like mobster guys that just he traps in a hallway that he guns down, and I don't know. We have no backstory on that.
The film doesn't show us the problems with the system. It doesn't show us how the system is failing. It just tells us through its main character, who isn't that likable and isn't that savoury, and actually is guilty of so many sins himself within the film that you're like, who does this guy represent? Because the people who are defending this film by simply saying, no, this stuff happens. Yes, you're right, this stuff happens. But if Harry Potter gets adapted into a movie, simply saying, covering over a flaw in the movie by saying, yeah, but in the book. No, I've not read the book. I'm coming to the movie on the movie's own merits. Right. So if something happens in the book, you can't rely on me knowing that when I watch the movie.
You need to show.
Equally, if you're making a movie about a very pertinent issue that's going on in society today, then you need to show me what it is you're talking about. Because I might not be someone who's caught up with a lot of the more right-wing media that is, discussing this stuff. This might be all new to me. Right. I might never have even heard of some of this stuff that's gone on. This is your opportunity, given that you're making a movie about this subject, this is your opportunity to bring the facts, to bring real incidences and show how the system is failing, how government, the link between government, police forces, social services, from top to bottom is failing, rather than just having someone who is not a good person as your main character.
Probably kills more innocents than the other people.
Probably kills more innocents they do, and just tells you that the system is failing. Okay, you've told me the system is failing. Why should I believe you?
Right.
Because we've seen a few thugs that you've taken down in the street. Okay, cool. But how is that systemic?
Very good point. Yeah, so to the response to that, like the reason I made that short was a lot of reviews that I saw was either the worst thing ever or the most important film of 2026. And like these are, some of them are like political people, which if you're only doing, these types of movies, like I don't know how I feel about you as a film reviewer, but calling Citizen Vigilante the most important film of 2026 is like really loose language. Like if you want to say the topic,
it's the most important topic that needs to be discussed, that mainstream media refuses to even acknowledge, let alone discuss.
Right.
If you want to acknowledge that fact, sure, by all means. But I want a film that's actually, I want what Schindler's List is to the Holocaust, rather than, an Uwe Boll special that don't even get close to scratching the surface of what's going on. And the problem is as well, it's like these people who jump on it. Like, so for example, Pat Bet David, PBD podcast, I like the guy, I respect the guy. I've listened to him quite a bit over the years, and I think he's highlighted some really good issues from a perspective that I can agree with on the whole. But he did a show on Citizen Vigilante, and he clearly showed that he's not even seen Citizen Vigilante.
Isn't he Iranian too?
Yeah. But it's just like the controversy alone is enough for someone like him to do a whole show in it and say that this is such an important film, and that like dude, you've not seen it.
Yeah.
Like, check this stuff out before you actually go to bat for it, because you not only do you make yourself look like an idiot, but people who have particular arguments against those on the right can now have those arguments confirmed, because that film, the one we got, Citizen Vigilante, is not really representative of what most people on the right actually think and feel about
right.
it. It's anger. It's just anger thrown at, which is an aspect of the whole thing. It's the end result of all the systemic failures.
Yeah.
But that's all you're putting on screen is the anger. And it's like, well, now we just look like a bunch of angry assholes with no reason for our convictions, no reason for our anger. And now you're singing the praises of this film from the rooftops without having even seen it. Yeah. Giving complete confirmation to those people who just look at people on the right as angry, racist, white supremacist douchebags.
Yeah, I understand a morsel, a reason for doing this, and we can swing around back to it, because I kind of want to talk about how both sides pump things up as far as media is concerned. But the conversations in just a tiny short of mine between the guided, or I don't know, there was a lot of anti-Jew sentiment in my comment section, and a lot of, I'm not saying all of it, but there was a plurality. There was a healthy amount of people that were very racist coded. And of all the comments that I was seeing, it's like I'm trying to have a conversation about the movie and people calling me, some woke liberal, some blue-haired, feminist or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, but what I'm still here telling you the movie sucks. Whatever you want to say about my political thing, you're wrong. But if that's like what you need to tell yourself that the movie's good, then we're not even talking about movies anymore. We're just talking about.
We're not even talking about the things you. Oh,
it's all right.
Sorry. The things you even discuss about movies, cinematography. Can anyone claim that the cinematography in Citizen Vigilante is good? No, it's barely passable as a DTV levels cinematography. The script. Can you honestly tell me the dialogue in there is just like, it's full of zingers? No, it's all preachy. It's all expositional. It's all telling us how we should feel without giving us the reasons for why we should feel that way, save for a few moments of violence, which is pinned on a particular people group by and that isn't me denying that there is issues within that particular sector of society that need calling out. It's just saying you've not done it very well.
Right.
You've not shown us why it needs calling out. You've told us why it needs calling out. So that's not good filmmaking. I'm sorry, guys. Just because a film agrees with your point of view does not make it a good film. Like, my go-to example is the one we did for 31 on 31, Titane. Okay, Titane, from a purely, and I know there's people argue about this all the time. There's no truly objective, subjective kind of thing when it comes to film. It's all subjective. At the end of the day, we have voice and an opinion, but I can make a much better case, a much stronger case through argument as to why Titane is a very well-made film. Oh, yeah. Now,
there's themes in it, at least.
Things are being discussed. They're being discussed in a way that's actually quite clever. The cinematography is beautiful. It's brilliantly made. All of these things that you want to discuss when it comes to filmmaking, it's a phenomenally made film in that regard. Now, I still hate the film because it doesn't gel with my outlook on life. It doesn't sit right with me and the things it's trying to say. I feel like it's trying to tell me things that I'm just like, no, I'm going to shut that down. But that's the difference there between a personal ideology and quality of filmmaking.
Right.
Titane, for me, stands up completely to the scrutiny of, is this quality filmmaking? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think part of like championing a movie like Citizen Vigilante and saying things like, "This is the most important movie of the year." Like you're telling everyone like, "Oh, this is the thing you need to look at."
Yeah.
And people like me who are going to this like, "Oh, this is a very important movie," and you watch it, you're like, "That person doesn't know a damn thing what they're talking about."
Yeah.
Like you're losing respect for the cause that you're.
Yeah.
For the message that you want people to pay attention to when you say this is the most important movie of the year.
Absolutely. Because the next time a movie comes along that genuinely is
right,
the one that you need to be watching on this subject, people just go,
heard
sorry,
that before.
Fool me once.
Right.
Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. I ain't watching that. It's just going to be Citizen Vigilante 2. And you've just done the damage by talking this piece of crap up so much. That now you've handed the opposite side, so to speak.
I promise we'll talk about the left and what they do awfully. But before we get there, it was a busy month for the right to talk about movies. And on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we had the new film from Christopher Nolan, the Odyssey. And I didn't know this, but our friends in our group chat were talking about how there was so much hostility against the movie and a lot of casting choices and
from a flipping trailer. It's like, I mean, there's a lot this is where you see the level to which people grift, where YouTube and things like that, their TikToks, all that kind of stuff has become such the source of income for them. And they know that they have to toe a particular line and really dig deep into that line in order to keep that revenue stream flowing. People like Nerdrotic, like just watching some of the stuff he's said over the course of the Odyssey release. Not that I was a big watcher of his anyway. He was on my radar a couple of times, dips in and out. But how he's handled his critique of the Odyssey all the way through. I got no respect for the guy.
Right.
It's like, and
it was months before the movie.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was the trailer. And it's one of those things where it's like you're doing a coin toss where either the movie's going to be good or bad. And you're just kind of doubling down and hoping it's bad.
I mean, just that, like the line of dialogue from Matt Damon when he says, "Let's go." And people like ripping the whole film a new one. And it's almost like Nolan was just trolling him, to be honest. Like he knew this kind of stuff would kick off, because when you actually see the film and that line, "Let's go," it's him actually running. Let's go. Let's get the hell out of here. It's not charging into battle going, "Let's go." It's holy crap. Let's go. It's like he's not stirring up the troops. He's bricking it and saying, "Run, run, run."
Yeah. If anything, like if they had waited for the movie to come out, they could have talked about it's a lot of the movies about trauma and kind of dealing with mistakes and making the wrong decisions.
But there's such an impetus on these guys to find anything that they can label as woke and milk it for however many weeks they can before the next thing comes along. And there won't be any apology. They'll double down.
Right.
They'll take the 5 minutes in the film that had Elliot Page, the 5 minutes in the film that had Lupita Nyong'o, who's a great actress. Yeah. It's like, and this is a film in which we have Cyclops, we have witches, we have gods and monsters, and you're gonna talk about the authenticity of race, the race of a character.
Sure.
It's like
with Cyclops.
Right. It's like, okay, show me a Cyclops, and I'll show you the valid argument for why Lupita Nyong'o shouldn't be in this film. It's ridiculous. It's a fantasy film. It's got fantasy, horror, action, adventure. It's like, who cares? Lupita Nyong'o is a great actress. She does really good in the tiny role that she's in. And it's like, get over it.
It's frustrating because when you think of filmographies, Christopher Nolan gave us perhaps arguably the best Batman trilogy in history, and that's Batman's kind of a right-wing character. If you like really, I mean, it's another vigilante. We'll go back to Uwe Boll there. But
it can be argued he's a right-wing character, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Arguably, he's a right-wing character.
Right.
I know there was that whole debate when Batman v Superman came out, that it was like this thing about the right versus Superman represented those on the left and Batman represented those on the right.
Oh, I'm just talking about Nolan's trilogy.
Yeah.
But it just seems like there's no thought about any of that. Like, I don't think, when I think of Nolan's work, I can't tell you anything political.
No.
Like
he steers clear of it as best he can. Now, we've got to accept certain facts about Hollywood. If Nolan wants his film to be up for Best Picture, he has to have
a certain amount in there. It's not only, it could be crew, I think, where he needs to have a certain amount of men, women.
But there has to be a certain amount of representation on screen as well. And it's like, okay, they're the rules you got to play by when you're when you're making films in Hollywood.
Right.
It's fine, but that's about as far down the political aisle as Nolan gets.
Right.
It's like there's no beyond that. There's no agenda with him in terms of that side of things. He's most of the time his films this is why they're universally loved. This is why his films do so well, because you can't pin him down politically. You don't know where he actually sits on particular issues.
Right. And the movie's close to flawless.
Yeah.
It's an incredible movie. I guess the premise I'm presenting to you is, Nolan made arguably Batman, arguably right-wing characters in the Batman trilogy. Okay. And now people, primarily on the right, are calling him woke and all this stuff. Yeah. Do you think he's going to be more inclined to, play by their rules, or like you might be losing one of the best filmmakers alive today by like saying stuff that he's not doing, like accusing him of like being woke and things like.
Well, the fact that the film has done so well,
it also makes you look stupid.
Water off it. Yeah, makes you look stupid. And Nolan's now sitting there going, yeah, I have no reason to listen to any of this. And he doesn't listen to it anyway.
Right.
Nolan doesn't even have a mobile phone, from what I've heard. He doesn't do social media. He doesn't have a mobile phone. It's all done through his assistants and stuff. It's like...
Yeah, to that point, when a political person, not I don't know much about political people, but like when I hear Ben Shapiro reviewed a movie, I'm like, ugh. I don't care. If Hassan Piker were to come out and say blank movie,
I don't know who Hassan Piker is.
He's probably like the closest thing on the left.
Right.
I might be wrong, but Hassan Piker is a streamer that is democratic socialist.
Right.
So he's probably the polar opposite of Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. He doesn't do movies, is the point.
Yeah.
A political guy doesn't do movies. If he were to come out and say, this movie is the most important thing of the year, knowing he doesn't cover
pinch
films.
Pinch of salt in it.
Right. And on top of that, if he were to come out 3 months before a movie came out and said, this thing that we have 90 seconds worth of footage of is the worst thing ever, how is there credibility in our field? I'm not talking about politics. I don't like it.
There just isn't. There isn't any credibility. When you're taking when you're taking a 2-minute clips thing that isn't even edited by Nolan and his team.
Mm-hmm.
It's the trailers are edited by separate teams whose specific job it is in marketing is to make a film put bums in seats.
Right.
So, like so many times, directors are actually pissed off by what the trailer companies have done, because it's like you've literally just... Like if I was McG during Terminator Salvation, I'd have been pissed at what they put out in the trailer. It's like, dude, you just literally ruined the twist in the film.
Yeah.
It comes last half hour of the film. Why would you put that in the trailer? So it's like, oftentimes these directors don't even have control over that. You know, I'm sure someone like Nolan could gain control over that, but he's busy making his actual flipping film to be too busy arsing around with trailers. So you take this thing, this 2-minute thing that's just cribbed the footage from it that is just designed purely to entice an audience, and you're going to use that to tell me what the director's political motivations are.
Yeah.
It's like, and even someone on the trailer team, they could have political motivations for sure. And they might actually do their best to make your trailer look, that's something that speaks to me, so I'm going to do it. But by the time you get to the film, you're no longer on what the trailer making guy is thinking. You're now on what director Christopher Nolan is thinking. And when you watch the film, there is no agenda there, politically speaking. Not overt anyway. I think the film says a lot, but it says it in such a way that both right and left can gain something from it.
Right. Yeah. We had this discussion prior to recording, but something that I enjoy that I feel is it's religious at the very least, which I would say is kind of more right leaning, is Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
By Mel Gibson. I think the issue as far as Hollywood is concerned is, you know, right-leaning directors, filmmakers, they kind of hide in the shadows. I mean, S. Craig Zahler is probably the most common working one right now that, I don't know, there are certain messages. I guess, so what I wanted, we can talk about the left now. I think the right tries to do that like moral grandstanding that the left does, and it's usually around award season. And I just think there's some things that they're trying to capitalize on, some things they're trying to do that I don't know if I have a comparison for on the left. I think talking about trailers and saying this thing's woke, here's the problem, this casting thing, girl boss this, 3 months before we have a movie. I don't know if there's a situation like that. To be fair, the left, they went crazy about Run, Hide, Fight, which wasn't even a right-wing, it was bought by...
Yeah. I think Sound of Freedom was a good example of...
Okay.
I think Sound of Freedom is a great example, actually, as to just what can go down on both sides.
They were talking about it for months prior to it being released.
Yeah, well, they were all saying it's QAnon nonsense, it's all propaganda, and it's like, dude, since when the fliptard does saving children from trafficking become any kind of a political issue? Since when does that become a right-wing QAnon issue? Like, so that, you know, that's probably been the worst case where I've seen it, where a film has been so easily dismissed by people who haven't even seen it just because they've been told it's a QAnon kind of thing, which it wasn't. It was complete utter bollocks. It's just
So what I was going to kind of pivot to was award season. If I think Hollywood is their most obnoxious, it is January, February.
Oh, absolutely,
without a doubt. And I think.
When Emilia Pérez can get 13 nominations.
You walk right into what I was about to talk about.
Yeah, when the director of Emilia Pérez can get a nomination for Best Director in a year that Denis Villeneuve made Dune Part 2 and not get a nomination for Best Director, then we're talking bollocks.
Right. And I think the difference is, I don't know how much the studio is behind that, the execs, but that campaign for Emilia Pérez was from like December through February, and it hit the fan before. I mean, like you said, it was nominated for 13 Oscars, but I think it only Zoe Saldana that won one.
Did the film actually win any?
I know they whiffed pretty hard, but rightly so. It was one of those things where it's like, guys, this. Yeah. I don't know what you're doing here, but like even people in the LGBTQ community were like, "This is garbage."
Yeah, well, you offended everyone with that film,
right? You're
offending Mexicans, because you're making them all out to be drug dealers, and whatnot, and then you're offending the trans people because, there's all kinds of wrong. The film was just terrible, on every conceivable level.
but it was a musical, so I don't know. That changes things, I guess.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess, like, the difference is, I don't remember there being, but again, I don't know of left-wing political people that talk about movies prior to them coming out. I don't know if there was some.
Yeah, my argument to that would be that Hollywood
is left.
Is left.
Right.
It doesn't need to argue the case for it because it's got control over what's being put out to a certain extent. And that's kind of what creates or initially created, you people like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic and all them lot. When they first started out, I was on board with them because actually there was a necessity for that kind of talk to highlight just how left Hollywood is and has been for goodness knows how long.
Ever.
Forever. So definitely there is a case there to be made that, like we need that. It's like your public broadcasters. You have things like Ofcom. You have people who keep you in check. And it's like when you got a place as big as Hollywood, as financially viable as Hollywood, that is so left-leaning, that like people who are on the right working in Hollywood have confessed that they do feel uncomfortable even bringing up their politics in that environment. It's kind of keep your head down, just get on with it, make your film, so you can just stay in the industry. And it's like, you need these checks and balances, people to challenge what's been done so that it keeps you in check. But that needs to be done in a healthy way. And what's happened is that those people that I've just named who did start out as a check, one that was quite valuable, saying, all right, now at least we've got a voice now, like people on the right have got a voice to challenge what Hollywood had putting out, because Hollywood can say whatever they want, just their agenda. It's quite a left-leaning agenda. And it's fair to say that, okay, the right don't really get to speak through the Hollywood lens in the way that the left do. So having those people to be able to call stuff out, but it started that way. But now because those people, all those individuals are making money off that, it's like everything. The moment you're making money off something, you become compromised.
Yep.
And like the agenda becomes the financial gain.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, I just want to, I would like to watch good films. We were talking about Falling Down earlier. That's another movie that I think probably shades over on the right wing a little bit more. If you were to pick a side, that's a really good film, and it has things to say, and it like makes you ask questions, and it makes you ask uncomfortable questions. And I think, I don't know, I think the shallow people who are, I think the shallow people on the left is Hollywood itself. I think people are trying to, gaslight everyone and thinking, oh, no, this is all artistic. And I think the difference on the right, they're just trying to manifest, this is important. Why? Well, this is the thing I want to talk about. Well, make it about a thing that asks questions and challenges. Don't take the shortcut to the thing. The left screws it up plenty. Men was quite heavy-handed, and that was kind of squashed in due time from a decent filmmaker. It seems like horror gets a little heavy-handed. The Craft remake, really bad.
That Black Christmas.
Black Christmas 2019.
Terrible, yeah.
Like when they missed hard. But again, the slight differences, people aren't saying, man, Black Christmas 2019, this is the most important thing right now. And it's troublesome because like we kind of talked about earlier, Citizen Vigilante, the subject matter is interesting. You can have that conversation. What I know this from like covering comedy, that the right with satire has a really difficult time, separating, what they want to say from kind of disguising it as, a way to challenge your line of thinking or your position. And is there a way to improve the artistic language from someone on the right of the spectrum there, where, I know what your message is. That shouldn't be number one. Get it, bake it into the batter there a little bit, so that there's something else there. And oh, by the way, here is the message. Is there a way to do that?
I think it's been done. It gets done. We see loads of movies where there's clear. If you dig under it, you can tell there's a right lean. But it's just like,
why can't they celebrate those movies though?
It's when the agenda drives things. When you start with the agenda rather than a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good director, especially if they've not written it, they find a great screenplay that works just because it's a good story. And now from their perspective, from their right-leaning perspective, they'll find a way to make subtle kind of inferences within the script that people can then go, "Ooh, I think I know what you're saying there."
Right.
But I don't want to go, "Oh, I know exactly what you're saying there."
Right.
Because then you just, okay, so I just feel like I'm being preached to.
Right.
Like, movies should be parables. You should walk away from a movie and have to discuss it and have to think, well, was it saying that, or was it actually saying this? And to me, they're the best. They're the best movies. Like, I don't want to just get to the end of a movie and go, well, I know what they were saying, and it's like,
yeah. I don't know if you've seen they call it a horror comedy, but it's mostly a comedy. It's called Slanted. It came out earlier this year about an Asian girl that there's this substance-like place where they can change your skin, and she wants to be a white girl.
Right.
And a lot of people online were, some old confidants of ours got really bothered that the movie was telling you that white people are evil. And fast forward to the spoiler of the movie. This Asian girl gets surgery to be white. And then at the end, you find out something kind of like Get Out, where a lot of the white people, you don't know how many of them are actually people that had this procedure done. And to come to the conclusion that, oh, this movie's telling you that white people are bad, without realizing that, oh, if there are bad white people, the movie's telling you, if anything, it's telling you that the people who are bad and white used to be Cuban. They used to be Asian.
Right.
So,
I mean, I've not seen that movie, but based just on what you're saying there, that to me sounds like white people are bad because of cultural appropriation. So because they've taken things from other cultures, that's what's led to the current state. Like I said, I've not seen the movie.
And it's not a movie worth discussing. It's not a movie worth fighting about. Trust me. But it's one of those things where I could see having an argument for that movie on either side.
Yeah.
And it's not great, but it's vague enough that you could make a claim. There's the Asian girl. The big thing about her is, you were born great. Everything about your heritage, your culture is you're going to lose that. And if anything, from the right side of the perspective, you can have that be a parable for trans.
Yeah.
You might think you're a girl, you might think you're a boy, but the way you were born is what makes you special.
Yeah.
So why would you, go and have this thing that changes you, and the way you look is different to everyone else? And I think it's interesting. I'm not saying the movie's good, but there's something there where it depends on like where you want to use your argument. There's something there that you could plead the case in one direction or another, and fair play for doing that at the very least. I just there's something a bit more to it than that. If someone said that was the most important movie of 2026, I would. Okay, why do you say that? But it's way more than just doing a shortcut and saying Citizen Vigilante is the most important film of 2026 in the same month where you're saying that the Odyssey is going to bomb. Where, man, that has not aged well at all.
Not at all, no. I would like to hope that they'll learn from it. That, okay, maybe not judge a film entirely based purely on a trailer. But again, like I say, they're making the money off it at this point. And the people that watch those channels and listen to those people, they're already drinking that Kool-Aid. And
how do you tone down the rhetoric to get, normies? How do you tone down that rhetoric for someone like me?
You don't need to tone down the rhetoric to get the normies, because the normies aren't listening to the rhetoric to begin with. It's like the people who exist.
I'm talking about the content creators, like, jumping to, this has got a black woman in it. Like, you're turning people off by saying that. Like, let the thing suck first, and then give reasons why it sucks, and don't have number one be black woman. Yeah. There's plenty of reasons to hate movies. No film is flawless. It's just it doesn't do favors for the cause. Is what I'm saying.
I don't understand the mentality anyway of having your starting position be one of hate. Like,
right.
I want to go into any movie and love it. I'm a movie lover. That's like it's outside of my love of God. Like, movies it's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. Who says I want to be angry for 90 minutes?
Yeah. It's just I want to go into any movie and go, oh man, that surprised me. That was awesome. So having your starting position just be, this is going to be crap, man, and then looking for things to justify that position. And then when the movie comes out, because you've spoken so much crap on it, you've then got to find things to back up that position so you don't look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But then you look more of an idiot because you're digging yourself deeper into it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've not seen Ben Shapiro's review of the Odyssey, but by all accounts, from the people that I do know have seen it, he gave it a really favourable review. He loved it. He thought it was great. Matt Walsh, on the other hand, whose opinions on movies should never be trusted.
That kind of goes to my point from earlier. Right.
Like Matt Walsh is all about the ideology. Now, I look at some things Matt Walsh has done. I'm so glad we have them in the world. His What Is a Woman documentary. Am I Racist? I think they're movies that deserve to be in the world. But then when it comes to his YouTube commentary on things of the day, I'm like, sometimes it's like, dude, you're not doing your side any favors. Like, you're so rigid in your thinking.
Right. See, like, that's as much as it bothers whoever is listening to me talk at the moment, I really don't, I'm kind of like hot and cold. It depends on the subject matter. I really don't want to be preached to from one side or the other. And I think, if anything, the left, the part of me that would like some liberal policies enacted, I think so much of what the left has done, Hollywood mostly, has cost normal human beings, because people are just so tired of this agenda. But on the flip side, on the right, screaming about a black woman or a trans person in a movie or something, it's like,
for me, I've said this quite a bit. I see a lack of love on both sides. Like, to me, I subscribe to a biblical definition of love, which is grace and truth in equal measure. It's like, if you don't have equal amounts grace and truth, then you don't have love. Because if you're all about truth's great, but if it's not backed up with grace, then your delivery of that truth just means that the truth gets lost, because you just become a judgmental prick.
Right.
And that's what I see on the right, is that they fight their battle with what they believe to be the truth, but in not equipping that truth with grace, it's like the love is lost. And I see the same. I see the opposite of that on the left, where they're so determined to be grace filled, where anything becomes acceptable. That also means anything becomes permissible. And for certain things that should be called out aren't called out, because we've got to be so accepting and loving and this, that, and the other. And so sometimes the truth gets lost there, and the firing back at the other side is, you just got to love everyone. Yeah, well, love isn't love unless it's grace and truth equally meshed together. And I just see these two sides.
I think it's disrespect on both sides. I feel this way. You're supposed to respect the way I feel. And then the other side is you're not what I think you are.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know, just what happened to giving respect to get respect? Like, I identify as this. Well, I don't know you as that. All right. Well, what's your name? You're a Keith to me. I don't know what your name is, but you're a Keith to me. And it's really frustrating that, I know what I believe about you. You're telling me you want me to call you this. Fine. I don't agree with it, but for the sake of being a human being and having a conversation, fine. Yeah. There's just too much, I think this and you think that, and just very, very, I don't know, everyone's putting up walls, and I think just, I don't know, saying something to please the other is like such a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've, because of where I sit, what my beliefs are, I can never look at Elliot Page as a man. So I'm not gonna call Elliot Page.
But you're calling Elliot Page Elliot Page, right?
Elliot is a name. It's just a name,
right?
So and it can actually be a woman's name as well. But it's just if you want me to call you whatever name you want, I'll call you that name.
Right.
I respect.
That's all I'm saying.
So it's fine. But as long as you're not making demands upon me to see what I don't believe is true as being true,
I understand.
Then I
If Elliot Page were here, you wouldn't be like, you're Ellen.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
It's just a name. It's a name your parents gave you at birth. Now I believe your sex was assigned by God at birth. So I ain't changing my opinion on that. But your name is just what your parents gave you at birth. If you don't want that name and you want to change it and you want me to call you something else, I'm fine with that. I'll call you Elliot.
And I think that's most of the battle here is just I am this. My heels are dug in. This is who I am. And just anyone with their opinions, they can't look past it. Yeah. And it's really frustrating.
And even the casting of Elliot Page as well. There's other things to consider there, which people just don't even touch on.
It plays right into the movie.
Well, I mean, not even that. I know what you're saying, and I agree with that completely. I think it does play into that. But there's other outside factors that people just aren't even considering, which is that Christopher Nolan had a relationship with
Inception,
Elliot Page when she was Ellen Page. And it's like, so what you people on that, the really like over the top right side of things are saying is, so Christopher Nolan should now just completely cut ties. You're out of my life, even though we went through this. When you do a film, it is like you're locked in with all these people, and it becomes like a community, like a village, a self-contained village where you're all supporting each other, you're holding each other up, you get on each other's tits now and again. But it's just like, but it is you this confined.
Elliot doesn't have tits anymore.
Yeah, this confined unit. You become like family. So many people on movie sets, when they're talking about a movie, they say, "Yeah, we were like family," and that is the way it is, because you're all locked in on this one thing, under the spearhead of one person who's like, got the vision. When you come out of that, okay, a lot of personal stuff happens once you get away from that film. This person called Ellen Page becomes Elliot Page, and it's like, but you still have a relationship with them. Now, obviously, we don't know what that relationship's look like, but what you're essentially saying by, you shouldn't have cast Elliot Page in the Odyssey. It's like, okay, all of your personal relationship that you had with them certainly since Inception, if not before. They moved in Hollywood circles, so chances are they knew each other even before that. But the relationship you built up on Inception, I'm just going to toss that aside. Whatever, be damned, because it doesn't work that way. When you got a personal relationship with someone, it doesn't work that way. And it's much easier to have these ideas, to have these notions of what you should and shouldn't do once you take the personal out of it. But it's like, I've got friends, dear friends of mine, that, they don't have my faith, but I'm already locked in their lives because I've had a relationship with them since school. I'm not going to go, oh, well, you're not living the Christian lifestyle. You're not turning to God or anything. So that's it. You're disowned. Everything about you. That's not the way it works. That's not the way love works. It's like, if we're truly to be like people that love one another, then you don't throw someone under the bus the moment they don't measure up to perfection.
Right.
Because if that's the case, I'm sorry, we're all getting thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's just, so I look at that whole situation, not even from filmmaking terms, not even from whether it's right narratively speaking, but just from the sheer fact that Christopher Nolan has this personal relationship with this human being who used to be called Ellen Page, that he's known since then and is still known as that person's gone on this journey, which you can argue the merits about. Should she have, had a sex change? Should she have done stuff to her body to become Elliot? Whatever. None of that changes the fact that Christopher Nolan still has that personal relationship with this other human being. And, kudos to him for still being in that person's life and trying to navigate that rather than just washing your hands of it and going, yep, sorry.
Yeah. Another thing I think is, I don't know how much thought or how much truth there is to the thought process, but I can't imagine being someone like Elliot Page, who had plenty of work as an actress, and now is, a different name on the call sheet, a different look. How does that feel for them, going through whatever it is they're going through in the public eye and trying to get work? I would imagine it's I don't think they want the attention that they're getting in, to be blamed for, Nolan's film being bad or ruined or something like that. From what I understand about trans people is, they're emotionally going through puberty twice. Once was more than enough for me, but to go through that voluntarily and do it through the public eye, I wouldn't imagine that's a fun thing to go through.
I just think there's a deep psychology there that sometimes it's not even a question of what is right and wrong. It's just a question of you've come just compassion. I don't think you can hope to change someone who's in that position where they're going through that struggle. I don't think you can hope to get them to what you might call a right way of thinking by simply bashing them over the head with insults and saying, don't be stupid.
Right. I just think, these actors, what was her name from The Last Jedi?
The
Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah, who got
she got obliterated.
Just for being cast, just for turning up and doing a job.
If you want to say Disney is shitty for what they did with their casting, that's one thing.
That's not. It's not something that should be put on her. That's the thing.
Right.
It's like she turned up for a job like any actor would.
A tiny role at that.
Like what actor would not take that role if offered? It's like. Even the guy who played Jar Jar Binks.
Oh yeah.
His life became. It was ruined by doing that role.
No one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars.
He showed up and he gave George Lucas what George Lucas was looking for. Yep. So if anyone should be blamed for that, it should be George Lucas.
Yeah.
Not a guy who turned up and did his job. He didn't write the dialogue. He didn't create the character. George Lucas created that character. He wrote the dialogue and he directed that actor and said, yep, that's a take. Guy did his job and that's it. And his life was essentially ruined from the sheer volume of hate that he got. And it's like people just lose all perspective. It's like, and they pin it on these people who've got nothing to do with it outside of taking a paycheck, doing what they
Do you think these people believe this stuff, like the big timers, like the Nerdrotic and thing, or are they just, listen, this is really good money? I don't really believe half this stuff, but the money's way too strong.
I think they certainly started out believing it, and I think they still do to a certain extent.
Okay. Is that better or worse if they maybe don't believe some of the things they're saying?
I just think they've become so entrenched in one train of thought because the money started to come.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and to a certain extent, I've done this myself with, you know, thought patterns. And this is what, I mean, it's another conversation we had before we came on here, is that I've come off social media.
Mm-hmm.
I got rid of Facebook, I got rid of Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. Got rid of TikTok, I got rid of, because it adds no value to my life. And it adds no value to my thought position. The meeting real people. It's very easy to have an opinion about a people group or whatever when you don't have to speak to that people group. When you don't have to actually become engaged with them. When you're face to face, it's like it's all well and good me saying, I'm not going to call a woman who became a man a man. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to call him that. Mm-hmm. I'll call him by the name, but I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, you are a man. Now I have to be prepared when someone who is that sits before me. I have to be prepared to then put my money where my mouth is. But I also want to be able to do it in the most loving way possible, because it can't just be about having an opinion. So once that reality of sitting with someone who's transitioned from a woman to what they now believe is to be a man, I've now got to have the strength of my convictions. And that's...
But that's a sign of good faith, though. If you have a conversation with someone and say, I don't agree with what you're going through, I will call you what name you're going by. That's some sort of, you're laying you're giving your perspective, but you're also giving some sort of respect or benefit of something. And I think that's the step that is not being found in these these echo chambers, this brick walls.
We're always taking people's dignity away from them. And it doesn't matter whether you agree with someone on various issues or not. You can still give them their dignity. And I think, dignity and respect are two different things. And there's another word that I'm trying to remember that I can't quite, it's on the back. It's a word that's always tolerance. Okay. Tolerance is the buzzword. It tends to be the buzzword on the left. That's the thing that a lot of people on the left use the word tolerance. And it's like, some things in this world should not be tolerated. So you taking a word like tolerance and just using it as this blanket, as if it's a positive thing, all people should be tolerated. No, they shouldn't. Pedophiles should not be tolerated. but this is the problem with a word like tolerance. When you don't actually know what it means.
Oh, it stops having meaning when you start using it.
It stops having meaning. Just like fascist. So many people are fascist now. Like, the people on the left and the right can't be fascist, surely. One of them's got to be represented.
Someone's going to be right.
Somebody's got to be like... So, yeah.
I mean correct.
Yeah. So, just the word fascist has lost all meaning. Like, if you want to know what a true fascist is, actually look up what happened during the Second World War. Actually look up what Hitler's policies were and this, that, and the other. This whole idea that we just call someone a fascist and that's it. Conversation is over. It's ridiculous. But again, like I say, flip side of that, the word tolerance, I think, is just used so flippantly as a get out of jail free card. If you're tolerant, then you're more loving. No, it's not the case. Tolerance actually sometimes isn't so loving. Because if I tolerate a certain thing in society that is going to be damaging to society, now that's different, a completely different thing to dignity. no matter who someone is, I don't necessarily have to tolerate what they do, but I can still give them their dignity. I can still say, like, you're a human being made in the image of God, and I'm going to treat you as such. Elliot Page, that's a name. That name is the one they've owned, and I can give them their dignity by calling them Elliot Page. So, yeah, I just think with the division between right and left has become so all-consuming in how people define themselves.
Yeah, I think to kind of swing back around and wrap this up, I think what frightens me, what bothers me, is when the two sides get way too proud of themselves and start, doing victory laps for things that it's just like, no, just make, we're here watching films. This is about art. Don't proclaim something. Don't say Emilia Pérez is one of the greatest films in history and should be celebrated. Don't say that Citizen Vigilante is the most important film of 2026. Like, media literacy, like, that's what's frustrating. Listen, if Matt Walsh is going to talk, if he's going to do movie reviews, I know, okay, you don't talk about movies but 3 times a year. So I know to avoid your opinion. If you're talking about it, you're either going to hate it or love it for whatever reasons, politically works for you. But to have, people who do cover media and films using terminology like this, it's like, I don't know if a lot of people can see through that. And like, you're losing credibility there where, when you say, oh, the real critics, well, what favors do you think you're doing yourself by throwing around this political junk?
The moment that you know unequivocally what side of the political aisle someone is on, for me, that's game over in terms of whether or not you should be listened to.
Right.
Like, so our friend Cody, he's been called all the names under the sun by people on the left, and he's been called all the names under the sun by people on the right. Yeah. And I still couldn't tell you with any certainty who he would have voted for in the last election. And I feel like that's where we should be. And I wish more people would. I love Denzel Washington. He's just aside from being a great actor, he's someone that I do actually look up to as someone who's a good example of how to do things, how to conduct themselves. And like, I remember him getting asked once, like, so who are you voting for? He's like, none of your business.
Right.
It's like, you shouldn't know who I'm voting for. You shouldn't. It's like, if I've told you who I'm voting for, then shame on me, I guess. But it's just this, especially if you're in the public eye, and
because you're alienating a portion of your audience, if not half of your audience.
Yeah. And Dwayne Johnson's learned from that. He got on that train of, we're going to support who I'm going to tell you I'm supporting this, that, and the other. And it's all gone tits up. And now he's like, it's such a mistake. It's just such a. And he's made a decision here on out that he's not telling you who he's voting for because it's nobody's damn business. And given the sway that he can have, the influence he can have over people's lives anyway, why should he have that much power over other people's?
That's something that frustrated me about Run, Hide, Fight. Daily Wire bought Run, Hide, Fight. It was filmed, it was made, it was sold to Daily Wire. And because it was produced by doesn't mean what it traditionally means as far as, when they put it out. Because Ben Shapiro was an executive producer on Run, Hide, Fight, that was a right-wing movie. And it really isn't. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No.
It's Die Hard in a school shooting.
Right.
And if anything, it's pretty woke because it's a young girl who saves the day. So, it's frustrating that if you take away the executive producer of that movie, you don't really know the politics behind that. And
that's
frustrates
literally
me.
Sound of Freedom is the flip side of that. So Sound of Freedom was.
I saw Sound of Freedom.
So that was picked up.
Angel Studios.
Eventually, yeah, but originally it was Disney.
Okay.
So that was a Disney movie. Disney owned that. They bought that up, and then they shelved it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of talk. Why did you shelve it? Why did you buy up this perfectly made, like, just it's done, it's dusted, you can get it out there. But then they bought it up, they shelved it.
It was done. They filmed it.
It was done. Yeah.
Okay.
And then director and a few the people who produced it, they had to wait a while and go through several hoops to get it back from Disney, who just weren't doing it with it. And then that's when Angel picked it up. Now, as soon as Angel pick it up, it becomes this right wing, like Christian agenda kind of thing. There's actually one line in the film where the character says, "God's children are not for sale."
Is it because
that's it?
The guy who played Jesus was in it?
Probably, yeah, probably.
Okay.
It's just, but this is what I mean. It's like you're talking about a film that Disney saw fit to buy up,
right?
Yeah,
it's
and then
just,
all of a sudden it's.
I need to know. The baseball card. What team do I need to know made this, so that I know what side to root for? Just watch the movie.
Yeah.
Like, what does it matter? Like, you can watch a movie that the other team made. If it's good, it's good.
If you get something out of it, you get something out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I use my primary example is Alex Garland.
Oh,
phenomenal filmmaker.
He made Men. He did make Men, though.
He did. But he also made Ex Machina. He also made Annihilation. He also made Civil War.
Is fantastic.
And it's like, so like for me, so like Alex Garland's gone on record. He's an atheist. He's an out and out atheist. And yet, 3 of his movies speak to me quite deeply on a spiritual level. So explain that to me. You know, when you got someone who is a self-confessed, out-and-out atheist, he's made like, you are not beholden to the director's perspective. And this is the thing with art. Once you make a piece of art and once you put it out into the world, it ain't yours anymore. And people read into it what they want to read into it. And it's like, if Annihilation speaks to me of God, and the need for God, and the need for us to be transformed by something greater than ourselves, which is like a deep, fundamental theology of my faith belief, then does it matter that came from an atheist?
It certainly shouldn't.
It just doesn't. Simple as. It doesn't matter, because what he intended with it is of no consequence. What I read from it, as some dude just sat in a darkened theatre watching this thing play out, and it speaks to me in whatever way, that's my takeaway.
Well, I think part is in the technique. If you're an artist and you can craft it to a certain, like I said earlier about the movie Slanted. If you told me I got this, I am left wing, this is what I got from it. I am right wing, this is what I got from it. I can see that in that movie, and like that's I don't know if that's the important part, but like if it can speak to different people, like how many people?
There is not a single person on the left, not a single one. I would bet quite a considerable amount. Not a single person on the left comes away from Citizen Vigilante saying that is the most important film of the year. Okay,
don't know why there's people on the right who are saying that.
I don't. I really don't.
Right.
But it just shows you it is purely about the agenda and it has nothing to do with the film making. It's like, and if that's the case, any film, if you get any film where like there's literally no one on one side of the aisle who likes it, but there are some on the other side who think it's the most important film of the year, then chances are that film is going to be a turd of epic proportions. Yeah.
And again, back to my comment section, 1,500 comments. I'm like, you guys want to go comment on other stuff, please? The amount of stuff that, some woke lefty. And it's like, no, but is that what makes the movie good? That I didn't like it and I'm some woke lefty. So the movie's good because you know what you think about me. And that's what makes it good. I refuse to to have that discourse with people, because like, what is that at that point?
It's not a genuine criticism. It's like, okay, you've just called me a name. Now please take apart an argument that I've made.
Right.
If you want to come at my argument and show me why my argument is flawed and why it's rubbish, great, let's have a dialogue. But if you're going to come out on just spitbile, call me a name, you've already shown your hand.
What it also tells me is basically whatever you want from your art is the thing you want to hear.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want to hear that women are bad? Okay, here's a 13-second short tells you women are bad.
Yeah.
Pay me.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if the word is I don't respect that type of discourse from someone, but
well, it's just a futile discourse, isn't it? There's
no conversation had. It's like, you know what you want.
Yeah, unless one side says, "Oh yes, I agree, you're right," which ain't gonna happen.
Right.
Then it's just a pointless. Who was it? It was I was watching a video yesterday. Oh, it's Chris Pratt. So going back to the Elliot Page link, because it's Chris Pratt just doesn't. He's got a policy where he just doesn't engage with social media. I can't remember what the thing is. He said it was a nice little quote from him that he said just about, which basically boils down to, if you don't respond, you take all their ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people who shout and scream and throw things. Once there's no reaction that you can get from them. The biggest mistake you can ever make with trolls on the internet is to respond.
Oh, yeah.
The moment you respond, that's it. You've given them everything they wanted. And it's like, and it's completely futile and pointless because they're not interested in a dialogue.
Oh, no.
A dialogue isn't a part of the equation.
What frustrates me is a lot of, again, I'm not saying the majority, a plurality of the people just talking about, oh, you look like a Jew. Like, I would hope that people on the right would be like, that's not us. Like, what's going on right there? Listen, I like the movie for reasons A, B, and C, but that's not helping my case at all. But it's unfortunate, but we were able to agree. We're famous for not agreeing, Brian, but we were able to agree for just over an hour.
We agree lots on things. It's
sure.
Just we play it up so much.
Speaking of, it's all for show and all for money. That's us arguing. That is our version of playing for money. Yeah. Brian, thank you for doing this with me.
You're welcome.
I don't know if you're interacting with this. Please let us know how you feel about the discussion. And Brian, I don't know what will happen in the future, but Brian is of the YouTube channel Bryan Lomax. Mm. Do you have anything on the horizon that you want to plug?
No, at the moment I'm in the editing phase of my short film.
Oh,
so I just made a short film called Prodigal, which I wrote and directed. So
humble brag.
That could be a sign either way of the quality, quite frankly. If it's bad, it's all on me. It's my fault. Blame me.
You better cast some black people and some transes.
But, going back to what I said earlier, it is my fault. It's like, if the film is good or bad, it's my fault. Don't blame my actors.
No pressure.
Don't blame my crew.
Yeah.
It's fine. And if people want to call it crap, that's just art. But I'm not going to spit my dummy out over it. Yeah. But I've just enjoying the process. And I just want to get it edited now, and then we'll start doing some sound stuff on it, get the music sorted for it.
So exciting.
So, that's about it, really.
All right. Well, Brian, thank you for joining me and taking the place of the missus. I've been Charles. Please click like and comment and all that other stuff. We'll see you next time. Good night.